I had no idea of the power of the mind. I had no idea of the power of the mind to manifest and the power of the mind to sabotage us, to harm us. But I'm really clear about it now. And so those things are the greatest things that I would say for anybody. The world is different from what it appears to be with the observer effect. And you know nothing comes into form unless there's a mind observing it. And they're like, you've just got to look, you've just got to change your perspective ever so slightly. We see the world as solid and us as separate, but if we just shift our perspective ever so slightly, we see something entirely different. That is completely freeing. You might be really broke. It was when I was making the secret, money would come into my hands, it would slip through my fingers, you know, things would break down. You might not have any money, and you're trying to instill wealth and prosperity and riches. That work talks about the power of the mind and the power of thought, and that's the biggest thing, is to open yourself to the possibility that everything isn't the way it appears to be. And so even if you can just open yourself to that possibility, just for a moment, you can pick up it all the next day. You can take it all with you the next day, that it's all real and everything that you're seeing. But if you just for a moment open to the possibility that things might not be the way that you think they are, then you have the greatest opportunity to really discover something incredible. And so I really simplify it and the law of attraction, because I would say to anybody, if you would just think about what you want, that's all you'd ever get in your life. And the most extraordinary thing is this, is that the more effortless you are, the greater you manifest everything that you ever dreamt of to create our physical world and material world. And then the greatest secret takes that to new level actually. And so then you really get to see that, oh my gosh, it's super easy, gray. Anything I want, like really so easy, because if we have a belief it's hard, then it's going to be hard, you know. And so it has everything to do with our mind and what we believe. And so if we believe a thought, it will manifest. End of story. The mind is like a computer program, and the fact that it's on a negative loop is because we programmed it on a negative loop. But you know, we could have been influenced when we were children and things like that. So one of the things that the mind loves is repetition. Loves it. You know, if you really watch your thoughts, this is the same old thoughts over again. You know, it's just kind of dishing up the same old thing. So it loves repetition. So the way you can override a program is to put in the opposite, you know. And when you start out feel like you're lying, you'll say something like, you know, you might be really broke. When I was making the secret, so you might not have any money, and you're trying to instill, you know, wealth and prosperity and riches. And every time you say it, you feel a contraction in your body because you know you don't have it. But you know, truly, because I did it myself, after a while you change it, you really begin to change it, and you don't quite have that contraction anymore. And then you start to see money coming in, you know, and in different ways. Those negative thoughts are coming from beliefs held in the subconscious mind. They stem mostly from our childhood conditioning. You need to know who you are so that you don't doubt yourself, because the one that is doubting is the ego. The one that is doubting is the mind. It's not who we are. So then you've got to become very aware of your thoughts. That one that is doubting, the negative thoughts, they're all coming from the ego, all of them, because who you are would never have a negative thought ever. Who you are would never judge. Who you are doesn't have. Who you are is allowing and accepting. So all of those things are coming from the ego, and they're not who you are. And that voice in your head that you hear, that voice that's, you know, so familiar to you and seems to know an awful lot about you and sounds like you, that voice is not you. That voice is just a program. I had been brought up with, we can't afford it, we don't have enough, you know, and money would come into my hands, it would slip through my fingers, you know, things would break down, the universe would do all these things to get the money out of my hand, just like, yeah, because I had this belief that I did not have an abundant amount of money. I tried many things, I was experimenting with it. So, I would just walk down the street and say there's prosperity, everyone breathing in prosperity. I do all these affirmations, you know, I'm breathing in prosperity with every breath I take. I am, my substance is prosperity, I am abundant, I am worthy, you know. And so I would say all these affirmations. I would have them all pinned up around the apartment that I was staying in, and so that I would see them and read them every day. I used to do this thing whereby I would do gratitude, and I would listen to music, and I would do all of as many things as I could until I felt really good. And I would just say to myself, I am abundant, and nothing would object, no thought would object. And I'm like, right now's the time to open the mail, right? Well, I'm feeling really good. And so then I would open the bills, and I would look at each one as though it was a check, not a bill. Do you know that was on a Friday? And on the Monday, I received $25,000 in my account from a place that I never ever could have exped. While the work is an inside job, it is if all of those thoughts are coming up from you, that you know they're beating up on me, you've got feelings of unworthiness inside of you. This is why it's manifesting. None of those things are true. People are way more magnificent than they realize. That they have all the power in the world. The mind, unfortunately, it is just our greatest tool to create the life that we want to have, but we're in a duality, so it is equally can be our torturer. I just didn't want to suffer anymore. That was the moment for me. Like I sought the truth. I was seeking the truth because I wanted a way out of suffering. And I've got an incredible life. When I talk about suffering, what I mean is suffering from the mind, not suffering from what's happening in the world. Suffering from the mind. It's not the world, it's the mind. What you resist persists, right? And so I came to understand that if we resisted negative feelings, then we just push them down and inside of us and suppress them, and then they would just be sparking off at every little thing. If you've got anger suppressed inside of you, you can bet there's going to be a whole lot of things in the world that are going to trigger that anger that is pushed down inside of you. And so I actually intuitively worked out that if I welcomed a negative feeling, imagine putting my arms around it and bringing it in close to me, what was so amazing, it would intensify for 1 second to 2 seconds, and then it would just evaporate one by one. As a negative feeling would arise, I would welcome it, it would dissolve, and then if it came back, it would just never be as strong. It was really weak, and so then I'd welcome it again until I don't feel it anymore. I don't think it's possible for me to get angry anymore. So there are two things that are really work both brilliantly. One is gratitude. You can do so much gratitude that will just wipe out those feelings. And the other thing is somebody who's feeling all of those things has a base of unworthiness. And so what will take that out is love. If you go about just looking through the day and looking for all of the things you love, I love that about that person. I love this time of the year when this is happening, and just look at all of the things that you love and really rampage it every day, because as you send out all of that love, it gets multiplied and will come back into you, and gone are the feelings of unworthiness. The biggest thing in our life for everybody is to become aware of your thoughts. Everything in the universe is conspiring to send us home, and the way to get us home is to have challenges so that we question things, and so that we open up. If I can do it, anyone can do it. All you have to do is you keep doing it until you do not feel any more lack anymore. And what will bring you everlasting happiness is to know the truth about everything, and to know the truth about who you are, and that will bring you everlasting happiness, and the manifestation of the world becomes even more incredible than it was. And when you're not fearful, you love so deeply. The love that you have is so deep, and so here you are in this state of I'm total allowing, and and I don't mind what happens, and you just got this undercurrent of happiness. We just imagine what law of attraction does with that.